But now we're getting into the Disney Renaissance, and now we're getting to my favorite Disney movie of all time. Let's put The Little Mermaid in its rightful spot at the top of S tier. I love this movie. I made a video years ago on the channel about why I love the movie so much. I think that video is crap. It's pretty bad. I just ramble on and end up on these weird topics that have nothing to do with the movie. I repeat myself for minutes at a time, many times in that video. I talk about like what life was like at the time when that movie came out, two separate times in that video, and I say the same thing basically, just reworded. So simply put, you can watch that video if you want, but I think the video is crap. I should probably do an edited version of it at some point. But let me just break it down. This was the first big princess movie when I was a kid. I really liked it as a kid. I wasn't really supposed to, because my older brother was like, you know, girl movies aren't cool and princess movies were girl movies, so I had to kind of keep it to myself. But I really liked it. Favorite songs, I think Part of Your World, Under the Sea, and Kiss the Girl are my three favorite Disney songs of all time. Part of Your World gives me goosebumps. I love that song. My favorite princess, I had a huge crush on Ariel when I was a kid. Favorite animal sidekick with Sebastian. Possibly favorite villain with Ursula. One of my favorite villain songs with Poor Unfortunate Souls. The theme is so cool. I just love, you know, oceans and being under the sea and mermaids and magical sea creatures and stuff. Like I've always loved that theme. And this might even be one of the things that got me into that theming. It's probably one of the things that had a lot of influence on me. I just really like this movie. It came out at the right time. I was a little kid. I remember the mania around this movie when it came out. It was so huge. It was everywhere. And it's super nostalgic for me. But even aside from that, I just think it's a masterpiece movie. I really think it holds up. The comedy is great, but it's not too much. They're not like choking you with the comedy every second, like smothering you with comedy. It's only there when it needs to be. It's tastefully done. It's funny when it's there. The songs are amazing. The emotional beats are good. The characters are all lovable. I guess the only thing you could really argue is like Prince Eric could have a bit more personality, but he's still a likable dude. I mean, Ariel and Eric are like the most attractive couple they probably ever had in a Disney movie. Great movie. I love it. I love all the characters. The animal sidekicks serve a purpose. Like, they're not just there to be annoying, funny comic relief things for kids with short attention spans. Like Flounder is her best friend since childhood, and you know, he's part of the story. He's organically part of her life. Sebastian's like the second most important character after Ariel. He's, you know, the royal maestro. He's Triton's right hand guy. He's tasked with watching over Ariel. He's Ariel's friend who kind of has to, you know, lighten Triton up for how rough he is on her and stuff. Like he's a very important character. He's not just in there just to be like the funny, marketable mascot character. So great movie. Even Scuttle is, you know, organically worked into it as he's her link to the human world. There's a lot of criticisms about the movie. It's definitely one of the most beloved Disney movies of all time. It's still one of the most popular ones. I'm not like alone on this, but there are a lot of criticisms for him. I'm not going to go into them, but I think pretty much every criticism I hear for this movie is stupid, and I think it can be shut down very quickly. And that is what I think is probably the best part of the video I did in the past, is I highlight why I think a lot of those criticisms are stupid, and I stand by that. So Little Mermaid, top of S, nothing's going to top it. Just spoiling that already is like, that's going to be at the top of S. Nothing's going to top that movie. Rescuers Down Under, though, that's the next one. It's a lot of fun. Beautiful animation. It has more of like the Renaissance animation. It looks really good. And I think it's a much better story than the first Rescuers. I like the characters more. I just like the way the film looks more. I like the setting more. it's there's not much to say about it. There's not that much to say about it. It's just it's got more wonder and awe to it. It's got better characters, better comedy. Even the characters that are in from the first movie are written better in this movie, I think. Better dynamics between the characters. It's just a better movie in all ways, I think, honestly. Bernard and, what's her name? I can't think of her name right now. The female mouse. The two of them, I don't want to say they don't have chemistry, but in the first movie when it's just them, they're a little boring together. They're not that entertaining as a duo. Where in this one, where you have the whole, like, he's going to propose to her, and then you have the kangaroo mouse, kind of trying to wedge his way in there, it makes it a lot more fun. I think it's a lot more interesting, a lot more entertaining of a dynamic than just, like, the two of them as a duo that doesn't work that well. So, yeah, it's a good one. I wouldn't say it's, like, one of the best Disney movies ever, but it's definitely damn good. It's one of the more forgettable ones in the Renaissance. I think most people don't remember it's part of the Renaissance. Everyone just kind of thinks it goes Little Mermaid to Beauty and the Beast. And I usually did. Actually, I didn't learn that it came in between them until later. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I guess it did release at that time. But I always just kind of assumed when I was younger that it was Oliver and Company, Rescuers Down Under, then Little Mermaid. But yeah, I'll put it at the end of B. But now Beauty and the Beast. Beauty and the Beast is, a lot of people consider this the best 2D animated Disney movie or the best Disney movie ever. And I couldn't argue that if someone said it. If you think it's the best, I'm not going to argue it. I like Little Mermaid more, and I do think Little Mermaid is a better movie than Beauty and the Beast. But Beauty and the Beast is still a really high-ranking one. Honestly, I'm putting it right after Little Mermaid for the time being. There's ones I like more, but I'm putting it in between Little Mermaid and Fantasia at the time being because Beauty and the Beast is a masterpiece. I have my nitpicks with it. There's some things that aren't as good, and definitely as a kid, I wasn't as into it. I didn't like the villains, Gaston and LeFou. I didn't really care about most of the characters in the movie. I thought the theme and the setting was more generic fairy tale, kind of like their older movies. I thought it wasn't as original as Little Mermaid that had this whole like undersea mystical creatures, theme to it, sailing theme that I really liked. But honestly, the whole enchanted castle with a curse put on it, and like it does actually have a theme of its own. It has that wintry coziness also. It's a very good like cozy winter movie to watch. I know I saw it a lot as a kid, but it didn't like blow me away the way Little Mermaid did. But as I got older, I appreciated, like, this movie is a beautiful masterpiece. The music is amazing. Again, Howard Ashman and Alan Menken, just an unbeatable duo. And especially the song Beauty and the Beast is by Angela Lansbury as Mrs. Potts. Just ridiculously beautiful song. Such good music in this movie. And amazing animation. The character designs aren't as cartoony and stylized, I think, as like Little Mermaid and Aladdin and stuff. They seem a little bit more restricted, but they're still really good. The design of the Beast is ingenious. Like, he doesn't really look like any one animal. He kind of looks like a bear. He kind of looks like a buffalo or an ox. He kind of looks like a lion, but he's just his own thing. And that was a really good idea, so that he's just a beast. You don't think of him as like a bear. You don't think of him as a wolf man or something. He's just a beast. And I think that was really clever. And it's funny how they can make him look like a scary dungeon crawling monster, and then also make him look like this gentle, upstanding prince, compassionate prince at other times when he's still a beast. So it's just really clever character design. They were able to do that. And all the servants turned into the inanimate objects that represent their past job. They got really creative with that. It's a really good movie. It's a little weird that Belle, falls in love with the guy who was gonna keep her dad in a cell to die, and then keeps her as a prisoner and treats her like crap. Belle's not right up there. And I definitely have a little bit of bitterness towards it because Belle was supposed to be a response to people who complained about Ariel being like a stupid boy crazy bimbo or like beach babe or whatever. And I don't think that's what Ariel is at all. I think that's selling Ariel really short. And I think Ariel's actually a more human, more relatable, more likable character than Belle. That's me personally. You might feel differently, but that's how I feel. But Belle's still good. I still like Belle. There's that bitter part of me, that raging Little Mermaid fan inside of me that's like, don't you dare speak badly about the Little Mermaid. So it's not the movie's fault, but Beauty and the Beast is still an amazing movie. It's beautiful. It rightfully has the word beauty right in its title. It's a beautiful film. And right after Beauty and the Beast, they knocked it out of the park again with Aladdin. Aladdin, it's weird I didn't get as into this one as a kid, because this one's like all like action and adventure and comedy and Robin Williams and all this stuff and magic, and you'd think it'd be right up my alley. Like, it seemed like something that I would like, and I did like it, but I didn't like love it as a kid. It didn't stand out that much. Like, the most memorable thing for me was probably like, oh, Jasmine's hot. Like, I didn't really appreciate it as much as I should have. But yeah, Aladdin's really good. I feel like by the time I was like in high school, I already loved it. Maybe even like junior high or like late middle school, I saw it again. I was like, oh, this movie's fantastic. Again, great music, amazing songs. Not as beautiful or like doesn't give you chills the way like Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast songs do, but they're a lot of fun, the songs. They're really good. And the visuals are just so zany and alive and full of color, and it's just a really energetic movie. It has great energy to it that doesn't let up the whole runtime. And of course, I mean, there's no point in even talking about how amazing Robin Williams was as the genie, because everyone's already talked about that. But yes, Robin Williams is fantastic as the genie. The way they did like the animation along with his improv, the way the genie can just morph into anything and transform into anyone and all, really lent itself to Robin Williams' just like off the cuff crazy style of rapid comedy. But yeah, it's such a good movie. It's really damn good. There's a reason why this is still one of the most popular 90s ones. There was the quadruple threat of the Renaissance was Mermaid, Beast, Aladdin, and Lion. Those four movies were like, top of the line. And it's no surprise why. They're all amazing masterpieces, and I agree with people on all of them. They're all top of the line movies. Aladdin is definitely, or possibly, not counting the anthology era, I think Aladdin is the closest to being an all-out comedy of any Disney movie feature film that they had at that point. But even then, it has a lot of heart, and it has a lot of scenes that are, more emotional and stuff. But I just feel like, Jafar and Iago are comedy characters. Apu is a comedy character. Obviously, the genie is a comedy character. The Sultan is a comedy character. And then even Aladdin has his jokes and all. And it just seems like most of the movie is comedic, and like they just go all out with the comedy. It's a hyper comedy with Gilbert Gottfried and Robin Williams and all. But they still reel it in for the heart, and I think that's good. I do think, unfortunately, after Aladdin, they did start some bad trends where, because Robin Williams was so successful as the genie, they kind of made it look like him, and they built it around his comedy and just let him improvise and all, and sold the movie on the big name. Unfortunately, they did kind of focus on just getting big celebrity names for a while to play every role, rather than, just little unknowns or voice actors, proper voice actors or theater actors. And also, I do think they forced in comedy more after Aladdin, whereas I feel like that was Aladdin's unique identity. And a lot of movies after that, I feel like the comedy felt more and more like it was just forced in to break up tense moments. Like if you have very emotional moments or anything, you need to interrupt them with comedy. Whereas in something like The Little Mermaid or Beauty and the Beast, you're allowed to marinate in those feelings. And they help, grow you up as a kid and expose you to those, you know, sad things in life or scary things in life that you're going to have to deal with at some point. So although I do absolutely adore Aladdin, I do think it kind of started two trends that left a bad stain on animated films to this day. So for that reason, it's going in S, but I'm going to put it after Beauty and the Beast. I think Beauty and the Beast is just a more beautiful film. I think as a kid, I probably would have put Aladdin above Beauty and the Beast. Maybe even like 4 years ago, I would have put Aladdin above Beauty and the Beast. But Beauty and the Beast is just amazing. But I will put The Lion King above Beauty and the Beast. This is my second favorite animated film from Disney ever. This was huge for me as a kid. I think it was for a lot of people. Me and my older brother, we got so into The Lion King. It was like an obsession. It lasted from like before it even released. Like when we were seeing the commercials, we were already super into it. We were already pretending to be like Timon and Pumbaa playing games in the pool, I remember, before we ever even saw the movie. And we were doing the whole like, I love this bowling for buzzards thing. And it was just like a mania from like that time all the way for like the next like 3 years. We were just obsessed with The Lion King. And it's funny because after that, we kind of fell out of Disney. Like we watched all the movies before that. But I never watched Pocahontas after that, and I never watched the ones that followed. I saw them later on in high school, but I didn't watch them after The Lion King. I just kind of fell out of Disney. But Lion King was huge for me, and I was super into it. I had the Super Nintendo game, and I had little finger puppets of the characters, and little toys of the characters, and a coloring book, and just all this stuff. I had so much Lion King stuff. I loved that movie. I will say, this is the one where everyone is voiced by a celebrity. You have Jeremy Irons, James Earl Jones, Rowan Atkinson, Cheech Marin, Whoopi Goldberg, Matthew Broderick, Jonathan Taylor Thomas. Like, everyone in there's a big name. You even have the guy from Benson voicing Rafiki. I think, like, one of the only people voiced by an actual voice actor is Ed of the Hyenas, voiced by Jim Cummings, and he doesn't even talk. He just makes noises. So, yeah, you just had, like, all these big names. Nathan Lane is Timon. Pumbaa was a voice actor, and I don't know who voiced Nala. But Nala, Sarabi, like, they were kind of, like, just little names. But, Sarabi's barely in the movie. So, most of the cast were these big name celebrities. And I remember it worked. My mom was excited to see it, and she thought all the pop culture jokes were funny, like when they're singing The Lion Sleeps Tonight, and They Call Me Mr. Pig, and all that stuff. Like, jokes that no kid would get at that time. My mom thought were hilarious. But that is when I started doing that a lot. There's a lot of scenes where the comedy is a crutch. You have an emotional scene with Simba's exile when he runs away in the bramble patch after Mufasa died, after the stampede. And it could have just ended on that, on like this like, somber note and gone to the next scene. But instead we get the whole cactus butt scene with the hyenas and all. And it just seems that there's so many comic relief characters, like Zazu's comic relief, and the hyenas are all comic relief, and Timon and Pumbaa are comic relief, and to a certain degree Rafiki can even be comic relief sometimes. So there's a lot of comedy forced into the movie, but they do let the emotional scenes play out when they need to. Rafiki's my favorite character. I really like Rafiki. I like that he's almost like Yoda, where he seems like a wacky, crazy old guy, this old hermit or whatever, but he means well, and he is trying to make you see the better you can be and all. And it's a really good story. I think, like, Simba's a very relatable character. We've all kind of felt like we've, you know, hid from our destiny, run from our destiny, run from what we want to do with our life, what we know is right. We kind of just, you know, whether it's not that important, like not that dire what was happening to him, but you know, I feel like for a lot of times, like throughout my 20s, I was kind of afraid to try to do anything with my life, and it's not like I'm doing anything crazy now, but you know, I think like we all kind of find that safety net that we hide behind, and it's a very relatable story. Again, I do find flaws in it, like the over reliance on comedy and the over reliance on celebrities, but it's just such a big movie for me personally that it's going to be second highest. I love this movie. The songs are amazing by Elton John and Tim Rice. Some of the best songs in Disney history. I think Be Prepared is the best villain song ever. And the score is by Hans Zimmer is the best score in a Disney movie. I think like the musical score, not the musical songs, but the just the score without lyrics and all. It's so iconic, and you know, they even used a lot of it in the video game because it's just so iconic. And it's I hear that it just brings me back to the 90s, and it's so emotional. It's so powerful. It's such a good score. It has the best combination of you know, theater songs and score. Even though I like the theater songs the best in The Little Mermaid, I think that The Lion King altogether has the best soundtrack if you combine the two of those. Though I do love the score of The Little Mermaid also. I think that's probably the second best score. So now we're past the big four of the Renaissance. Now we move on to Pocahontas. This was actually supposed to be the big movie. Lion King was supposed to be the holdover. And boy, that worked out the opposite. Everyone loved The Lion King and no one really gave a crap about Pocahontas. But Pocahontas was pushed really hard commercially. And I didn't see it until I was in high school. Kenny showed it to me. And I liked it. I thought it was fine. You know, it has good songs in it. It has pretty good animation. The characters look more rotoscoped like they did in the original Disney movies. Like, I feel like Pocahontas herself, I mean, she looks great, but like facial features are missing sometimes. She has kind of that like traced look again. She looks very traced. And again, it's like a lot of big celebrities like Mel Gibson and stuff, but it's okay. I'm not going to get on it for the historical inaccuracies. I feel like people doing that, it's just like a pointless rabbit hole at this point. It's like, you know, they're not going to make it historically accurate. You can say that's disrespectful, but I don't think it was intended to be disrespectful. It had a good heart, the movie. Like, its heart was in the right place. I just don't think it's that great a movie. I don't think it leaves that much of an impact. It's one of the weaker ones of the 90s. There was a lot of like Save the Forest movies in the 90s, which I think is good. I think that was a good thing to push. But it doesn't really stand out that much. A lot of them kind of bleed together. And the characters aren't terribly interesting. John Smith is not terribly interesting. And they kind of do what I complained about in Cinderella, where like there's so many scenes where you're just watching Nico, the little raccoon, like get in fights with Percy the dog, and it's just like these goofy scenes that go on way too long. And the movie, just even the way it's drawn, I feel like it's more serious, the art style. Like the humans look more serious than they did in like Aladdin or The Little Mermaid. And the human story is so serious that the comedic animal scenes just feel like terribly out of place. It feels like you're watching two different movies. So I wouldn't put it too high. I'd put it like in the middle of C at the moment. I think it's personally the worst of the Disney Renaissance films. Next up is the Hunchback of Notre Dame. This one's good. This one has gotten this like really rampant cult following in recent years where like people really defend this movie. And I get it. It is a really good movie. It's a striking movie. It looks nice. It's got pretty music. I don't think the score is that memorable. I think people say it's better than it actually is now. I feel like everyone worships Hellfire. Everyone thinks it's so great just because it's so dark and it's about a guy lusting for a street performer and having a mental breakdown, and there's like demons and all this stuff, and he's cussing in the song, in the title of the song. But I don't think it's that memorable of a tune and stuff. Like Be Prepared or Poor Unfortunate Souls are way more memorable villain songs, and then they progress the story forward a lot and stuff. Hunchback, like the Bells of Notre Dame and God Save the Outcasts and stuff. They're nice songs, but when you're done watching the movie the first one or two times, you don't remember any of them. They don't stick with you, at least not for me. Whereas, like, the first time you watch The Little Mermaid, you're going to have Under the Sea stuck in your head for the rest of the week. The first time you watch Aladdin, you're going to have Friend Like Me stuck in your head for weeks. Hunchback doesn't really do that. I think the biggest problem with Hunchback is it's actually a very faithful adaptation to the original story. It's kind of dark, and it's one of the reasons people like it, but I think it doesn't really work, because usually a Disney movie, they take it to a new level where they use the animation as a way to plus the story and make it their own. This one, they don't really make it their own. I feel like, yes, the animation is very nice, and like they can make them do things they couldn't quite do in live action. But honestly, it doesn't seem that different from some live action iterations. I think the 1930s one is a very similar film, although actually I think that's a better movie. I think it's just better acted, better written. Not saying this one's not. Like, I could definitely see someone saying this one's better, but I just feel like that one was done in the 1930s and it was so good. Then in the mid 90s, 60 years later, Disney has a go at it, and it's practically the same movie, just with flashier cartoon imagery. And the only thing that seems Disney-ish is they forced in like the gargoyles, and they just feel terribly out of place in the movie. Again, like Pocahontas, it feels like they just had to insert some comedy and some cute inhuman characters to make it a Disney movie. It feels forced and out of place, and I think it doesn't really work. And I think that's a problem. Usually when Disney adapts a story, they're the best version of the story. But I feel like in the case of Hunchback, they're not. There's probably better versions. I think the 30s version of Hunchback, the live action one, is better than the Disney one. But it's still a really good movie. The next one is Hercules. Hercules is a lot of fun. Definitely, I think even more so than Aladdin, this one is just an all-out comedy. Again, it still has its heartfelt moments, but it's a comedy. It's definitely good. I think it's a ton of fun. I would probably put it right after Dumbo in B tier. Like Hunchback, I think the songs don't stand out too much. I think Meg's song is probably the best in the movie. None of the songs are bad, but they just don't stick out as much as, the ones from The Lion King and The Little Mermaid and stuff. But it's a really fun movie. It's very funny. The animation's a lot of fun. I think from this point on, Disney started doing this like very angular, blocky art style, sharp art style, which got kind of old after a while. But it made sense in this movie because they're supposed to look like, ancient Greek art you would see like on a vase or, on a mural or something, where everyone was kind of drawn with that with like the swirly joints and everything. So I get what they were going for, but yeah, it's a fun movie. I think it worked for this movie. They kind of went overboard with the animation style from that point on, but it looked really good in this movie. I really like the character designs. Meg is a total babe. Great characters in the movie, but it's not quite as great, I think, as a lot of the other Renaissance ones. It doesn't have anywhere near as much heart as the other Renaissance films. It's just like all comedy. And the comedy's good, but it just doesn't connect emotionally, I think, with the audience the way the other ones do. It's just a really, really fun, entertaining movie. But it's really good at that, and it's a really clever take on Greek mythology. Again, I don't care about the inaccuracies. I know there's a million inaccuracies. You can't do Greek mythology accurately and make it Disney friendly. Of course, they're not going to do that. Also, a lot of the Greek mythology stories make no freaking sense when you actually think about them in a literal sense. Like, they just say weird things happen, and then this monster came out of the side of this guy's head after it got cut off, and it turned into three other monsters, and it just doesn't make any sense. So they did a good job. I think it's really good. Next was Mulan, and yet again, I didn't see Mulan as a kid. I saw it as a teenager. All of these ones I saw as a teenager, and like Kenny showed them to me. Mulan is really good, though. I think it's I think it's a better movie than Hercules, but I think Hercules is a bit more fun. So I would put Mulan right after Hercules. But Mulan is fun. Some of the songs are really good. Be a Man, I think everyone knows that's like the best moment in the whole film is that song. It really progresses the plot forward almost better than any other song does in a Disney movie, because it's just like a giant montage, a character growth montage set to this amazing song. It's definitely the highlight of the film. None of the other songs are as good, but there's some fun ones. I was never a huge fan of Reflection. I find that one, it just kind of sounds too much like a radio pop song from the time, like a sappy radio pop song that would play at prom or something. It doesn't really sound like a Disney song. It doesn't have that theatrical oomph to it, in my opinion. But it's still a great movie. It's a lot of fun. Got way more emotion to it, I think, than the other ones around it, but it still has a ton of that comedy forced in. Mushu's always supposed to be funny and all of it. And he is, Eddie Murphy's great, but I think they could have done a little more with the characters. I think the villain, Shan Yu, he's cool looking and intimidating, but he's not much of a character. A lot of the characters are a little empty, but they're still good, and I think it's a good movie. I think it's a damn good movie. I don't think I quite love it as much as a lot of 90s kids, because, I was born in like the mid to late 80s, and grew up in the 90s. I think a lot of people who were born in the early or mid 90s and then grew up in the late 90s and early 2000s adore this movie, and I do like it a lot. Like, I'm putting it in B tier, but I don't think I like it quite at the level that a lot of other people do. A lot of other people, this is like one of their favorite Disney movies. My friend Tim, this is his favorite Disney movie. He's a little bit younger than me, not that much younger, but he's a little bit younger. He's a few years younger than me, so a lot of people love this movie. I do think it is really good, but I would put it in the middle of B at the time being. But Tarzan, I would put third in S tier. Some people might say that's really high for Tarzan, but this is my list, so you can go screw yourself. I love Tarzan. I don't know what it is about this movie. I don't know why I like this one so much, but I really like Tarzan. Ever since I first saw it on TV. For a while, I wasn't seeing Disney movies. Again, I remember when this one was coming out, I saw so much stuff on TV that summer about the making of it, and like this behind the scenes stuff for Tarzan, and I was really excited. I really wanted to see it. It looked amazing. I also remember at the time going and getting that like McDonald's McFlurry they had at the time. That was like a banana McFlurry for Tarzan. It had these weird little like candy chips in it, these yellow chips that were like banana flavored. And initially I thought it was disgusting, and then halfway through I loved it. But yeah, when I finally saw it a few years later on TV, I thought it was amazing. I couldn't believe how good the animation was. I had like forgotten how good Disney animation was, and this movie has exceptionally good animation. It's so fluent. The character designs are incredible. The characters are a ton of fun. They're very well written. I don't know if anyone else has ever theorized this before, but I feel like Jane Porter and her father Archimedes have to be based on the Irwins, like Steve Irwin. Hear me out, because This was 1999. This was the late 90s. That's when the Irwins were blowing up. Like in like 98, like around then, 97, 98, they started to blow up. Crocodile Hunter was a huge show. Steve Irwin became a huge celebrity. He was on all the talk shows and stuff. And everyone else, all the other like stupid, stuffy celebrities would act like weirded out by him and act like he's like, oh, you know, he's a little crazy. He gets a little too into the things he does. But the people who liked him, like myself, were like, no, screw you. He's just passionate about what he likes. I respect that. That he's not afraid of looking like a clown on TV just to be passionate about what he loves. And I feel like that's what they were emulating with Jane and Archimedes. And they're very goofy. They're very excited about gorillas and their natural habitats and all the theories they came up with and stuff. And she's like literally walking around on all fours going, ooh, 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 and stuff. And like making a complete fool of herself in front of Clayton. But she doesn't notice or care. She's just so passionate about finding gorillas and nature and all. And just the way they're so animated about it and so excited about it. And in the original story, Tarzan the Ape Man, they were just looking for treasure, the Porters, like buried treasure. So I think it was a deliberate change to make them like Steve Irwin and the Irwins at the time, because they were such big names in pop culture. Everyone knew them. Everyone knew that kind of personality, like obsessed with nature and animals. And they aren't afraid to act super silly and dialed up to an 11 on the excitement scale about their passion all the time around other people. Even if they're making the other people uncomfortable, they don't care. They're just so passionate. And I think that's what they were going for, and it worked really well. I love the characters in this movie. I love the movie. I love the Phil Collins songs. Definitely, it's a bummer this is the first Renaissance movie. This is the last Renaissance movie, but it's the first one to not be a musical. There's one scene where Kala, Tarzan's ape mom, starts singing "You'll Be in My Heart," and then it just turns into Phil Collins. But it's not a musical. It's just Phil Collins songs. It's a bummer it's not a musical, because I prefer my Disney movies as musicals. But the Phil Collins songs are so good. I love Phil Collins. And like Son of Man is such a good song. Strangers Like Me, Two Worlds. It's such good music in this movie. And again, amazing animation, amazing character designs. You have like Kerchak, who's so big and intimidating looking. Jane is absolutely adorable. She's a total babe also. I just love the designs. Archimedes, like Porter, has such a fun design. And then like Tarzan is this like badass hunk. Like, you know, he's just a cool dude. You look at him like, yeah, that's a cool dude. I love the character designs. Even, you know, unlikable characters like Clayton, he has such a slimy look to him, but he also like kind of has a smoothness to him. Like, just very, very, very good character design. I love that movie. Again, I can't completely explain why I love it as much as I do. That really like just connected with me when I saw that movie. I love Tarzan. But now the next one, Dinosaur. Not so much. I'm going to throw that all the way at the very bottom of D tier. I'm going to put that below all the anthology movies and everything, because I honestly just think this movie's bad. This was Disney's first attempt at a fully CGI film. You know, movies like Tarzan used a lot of CG backdrops. Aladdin had some like very not good looking CG scenes in there, even though Aladdin's generally a beautiful scene. When they're flying through the Cave of Wonders, some of those textures are just like rough to look at. But Dinosaur is a whole movie of that. And yes, it looks very impressive for its time, but it's so boring. It's such a boring movie. You make a movie about dinosaurs, and it could have been so fun. But instead, they're all kind of the same. I don't know what type of dinosaur that is. I should know the name. I love dinosaurs. But just these generic, chunky, boring-looking dinosaurs. The main guy is this chunky, boring, generic-looking dinosaur. The villain is the same kind of chunky, boring, generic-looking dinosaur. The female love interest is the same kind of chunky, boring design, generic dinosaur design. Like, they all look the same. You have these hideous monkeys who were like his family in the jungle before he met his like dinosaur herd. They just look terrifying. And you do have a couple unique dinosaurs. You have like the Styracosaurus woman and the Ankylosaurus, who's a dog for some reason. And look, I'm not trying to be mean, you know. I love dogs. I love dinosaurs. Mixing the two, I gotta love him. He's a good boy and all. But man, his design is just, it's just weird looking. He's creepy. There's a part where he's like right up in the camera panting, and it seriously just looks weird. Like he just looks creepy. I want to love him. You know, he's a good boy, but he just looks off. And I understand what they were trying to do. They're trying to kind of make like a Western wagon train kind of thing. Like they're kind of trying to compare migrating herds to like the Oregon Trail or something, where they're going through the desert. And, you know, the Styracosaurus woman, she has this very, like, southern accent. And they have the dog running around and all. They have, like, the guy in the front who's, like, you know, heading the herd. They're trying to do, like, a wagon train kind of thing. But the desert is just really boring to look at. They didn't make it look interesting or anything. You spend the whole movie just walking through a desert. It's a whole movie of just big, slow animals walking. And, I mean, you had Don Bluth back in the 80s made The Land Before Time, which is an incredible animated dinosaur film. So, it just seemed like if Disney's going to try to do a dinosaur one after the success of The Land Before Time, they got to really knock it out of the park. And this just seemed like such a half-baked idea. I don't know what they were thinking. I think this is an awful movie. It's one of the boringest, most forgettable Disney movies ever made. And it doesn't even fit in with this catalog. It seems like it should have been made by a different studio. And then, not much better than it, I would say Fantasia 2000, I would put right above it, actually. Fantasia 2000, look, if you're going to put the name Fantasia on it, there's a level of quality I'm expecting. The expectations are high. You can't just slap that on anything. And, you know, the original Fantasia, there was passion there. It was a vision. Like, Walt, I'm not going to say, like, when he listened to these songs, he envisioned every single thing we see in Fantasia. He definitely improvised and made up some stuff here and there. But, like, he definitely was inspired himself 100% to make this. Whereas this just felt like an obligation. They're like, oh, we have to do the Fantasia thing again. And while the original one was like this big concert, this formal, you know, prestigious event where you saw the silhouettes of the whole, like, the composer and all the band, in orchestra, I should say. In this one, you just have random celebrities like Steve Martin and Penn and Teller introducing each skit, and they just reuse the same Sorcerer's Apprentice Mickey skit from the first one to fill time. It's like, we're honoring the originals. Now you're just filling a slot because you're too lazy to make another segment. A lot of them, the first one's just a bunch of ugly CG. I get they're trying to do the abstract thing like the first song in the original one, but that one was so creative and visually stunning, though. This one's just a bunch of, like, CG rendered basic shapes that they ran amok from like a Windows 95 screensaver or something. It doesn't really feel like it's an artistic interpretation of anything. It's just a bunch of CG shapes. It's not interesting to watch and stuff. They have the whale one. That one's like, yeah, it's animated fine, but again, it just kind of seems like they're making it up as they're going along. It's playing this like really triumphant music as we're just watching something that just seems like somebody made it up on a lunch break or something. Like, it doesn't seem that impressive. There was one, like, really ugly CG one about, like, a toy soldier who loves a toy ballerina and is trying to save her from an evil Jack-in-the-Box or something. There's just a lot of them that aren't that good. The Donald Duck one, like the Noah's Ark Donald Duck one, which is, like, the graduation song, that one's, like, it'd be fun as, like, a silly symphony cartoon or something you'd see on, like, House of Mouse. And the animation's really good, but it's, like, it's not Fantasia. It's just a bunch of slapstick stuff. I don't think of that when I think of Fantasia. I think of it as having, like, you know, I love slapstick cartoons, but Fantasia's, like, a step above. It's, like, a little more classy, you know? I'd say the best ones are the Rhapsody in Blue one, I actually think that one's really good. Again, it doesn't feel like classic Disney to me. The art style is so different. It doesn't feel like Fantasia, but it is really good. I do really like it, actually. It's really well done. And the best one by far is the last one with the phoenix and the forest nymph or whatever, spirit of the forest. And it's like, just as that one comes on, you're like, oh, things are getting good. This movie's finally getting good. And it's like, that's the last one. Sorry, it's over. So, like, just as the movie starts to get good, the movie's over. So, Fantasia 2000, it's just not necessary to me. It doesn't have the power of the original. Oh, and I always forget there's one where there's just, like, flamingos playing with a yo-yo. Like, it just seems like the idea was, like, completely just made up out of nowhere. Like, it came from absolutely nowhere. They were just like, what if? And then it's like a Family Guy gag. It's like, oh geez, this reminds me of the time that blank played with blank. It's like a Mad Libs thing. And the animation's fun and stuff. It's just not Fantasia. It's just, I don't know, it comes off as a little goofy and stuff. So I'm not gonna put it that high. I guess you could say I'm being a little too hard on it because I clearly just have a bias for Fantasia. I have like a preconceived idea of what Fantasia should be in my mind. But, I mean, that's just the problem with making a movie decades and decades later that's supposed to match the magnificence of what was done earlier. But next we have The Emperor's New Groove. Like, they were really on a roll at this time, just pumping out movies. Not all of them were very good, but they were just pumping out movies. And, they pumped out Tarzan, and I think Dinosaur was 99 as well. I think it was like the end of 99, Dinosaur came out. Then like a few weeks later, Fantasia 2000 came out. Then Emperor's New Groove came out before 2000 was done. And then summer 2001, we got Atlantis. It just seemed like there was just movie after movie. Emperor's New Groove is definitely a really fun one. It's really fun. It's really funny. I wouldn't call it like one of the all-time greats or anything, but I'd say it's damn good. I'd put it in B tier. Low B tier, but still in B tier. It's hilariously funny. This was kind of the first time Disney ever did like a 100% comedy, because I feel like Aladdin's more of a comedy than like most of the other movies of its time, but even then it still has a lot of more emotional and heartfelt parts where I feel like The Emperor's New Groove, yeah, it has a little bit of that, but not really. It's really just a comedy movie. I mean, it has like David Spade, and it just feels like you're watching like a Happy Madison comedy or something. But the real stars of the show, this is not a hot take, I think everyone agrees. The real stars of the show are the villains, Yzma and Kronk. They're the best part by far. I mean, it's hard to even call Kronk a villain. He's like such a good dude. He's just working for Yzma. But they're hilarious. Eartha Kitt is so funny, and I forget the guy's name. Dude from Seinfeld, doing Kronk. He's hilarious. He's so good in the role. They make the movie completely. I'd say the biggest problems with the movie, I don't think the fact that it's a sheer comedy is a problem. I think that's fine to have a new vision for like a specific film. I think the biggest problem for me is I can't stomach the main character. Cusco is such an a-hole. I hate that guy. And I know that's supposed to kind of be the point, is that he redeems himself and learns to be a decent human being. But he's just too crappy in the beginning, and that goes on for way too long before he finally starts to be a nice guy. It seems like he just starts being a nice guy when it's convenient for him, because if not, he has to live his whole life just as a llama. So, yeah, I don't know. He's a little irredeemable in how unlikable he is. But the movie's a lot of fun. It's really funny, and the villains are outstanding. Next up is Atlantis. I always forget it's called Atlantis: The Lost Empire, because I'm not used to Disney movies having like subtitles. It's kind of weird. I'm just used to it being like Cinderella, The Little Mermaid, the Lion King. I'm not used to it being like a little subtitle, but I would put it in C tier, low C tier. Putting it here makes it seem like I'm saying it's bad. I'm not saying it's bad. Again, I mean, I like Bambi, I like Ichabod and Mr. Toad, as I said. I think those are good movies. But I think Atlantis has some problems. I think it's a good idea, but I just think it has some issues. I think it it didn't fully get fleshed out before they finished it. Like, I feel like they greenlit the basic idea. Like, they brainstormed for a bit, then they greenlit it, made it, and sent it out there. But, like, it wasn't finished, I feel like. Honestly, I feel like this movie kind of begs to be like a mini series or like just a TV show rather than a movie, because they clearly came up with a lot of lore for this movie, like a lot of characters. They introduced a lot of characters, and they all just kind of end up being one note because there's just too much to do and too little time to do it. And the animation, the art style is good, the artwork is good and all, but the animation quality seems a little lower than most of the other movies around that time. Even just like the line work looks a little rougher and stuff, but no, it's good. I just think it has some shortcomings. I do feel like the humor doesn't really work. I don't think it needs humor, but when they do try to make characters, like Mole is just, I don't really find him that funny. And again, he's just kind of an a-hole. It's okay. I feel like it's kind of like how I talked about Sword in the Stone. Like, when it's good, it's really good. You can feel there's something really good there, but unfortunately there's just too much where Sword in the Stone there wasn't enough going on. Atlantis, there's too much going on, and not all of it is that interesting. I'd say probably the best part of it are the glimpses of like the heavy lore we get. Some of it's really cool. And I think the other best is just the chemistry between Milo and Kita. I think like they're a good couple. But in general, I wouldn't say it's one of the best. I don't really care about any of the other team members, and they keep like twisting it. Like, oh, it turns out first they're all a-holes to Milo, but then it turns out they're all good, but then it turns out they're actually all bad, and then it turns out they're going to turn good again. And it just keeps going back and forth. It's like, all right, you can't just keep doing the same character twist over and over again. And I don't know. Atlantis is fine, but it's not one of my favorites. And also one that is not one of my favorites that's, I guess, kind of a hot take, because people really, really love this movie. Especially people like a little bit younger than me. Like people... You know, I was in high school at this time. I think I had just finished my first year of high school or second year of high school when this movie came out. But people a bit younger than me who were like kids, like middle school or younger when this movie came out, love Lilo and Stitch. And I like Lilo and Stitch. I'll put it there. Like, I think it is a good movie. I think it's well done. There's a lot I do admire about it. But I just don't quite get the level of obsession people have with it. Like, to me, it's okay. It's like, in the grand scheme of Disney movies, it's like, oh, it's okay. It's pretty good. It's not, like, amazing or anything. It seems kind of randomly put together. I guess kind of like Stitch himself. It's kind of a stitched-together abomination. Because you have the alien story, this big, weird, cosmic alien story, and then this, like, Hawaiian story about the sisters, and it's very real. It's very realistic, and it's really well done. But then the alien parts just seem completely out of left field, and it's a really weird story. I think that's part of the appeal. I think people like how weird it is, but it's just kind of all over the place. Like, I get like Elvis did like Blue Hawaii and stuff, but like there's just all this Elvis stuff, and then it takes place in Hawaii, and then it's about these orphaned sisters, but then it's also about aliens and a little koala bear mutant that was made by some big Russian alien, and like he's supposed to be evil, but then they think he's a dog, and it's if you try to describe the story of this movie to someone who's never seen the movie, you'll sound like a raving madman. You'll just sound like completely insane. But the things it does good, I think, are done really well. I think that the interactions between the two sisters, the relationship with the sisters is really good. And they're written really well. Lilo is a very well-written character. She's one of the most realistic and relatable child characters I think they ever did. And that's one of the reasons why this movie is so popular. I think some people really connected to the human aspect of it. And also everyone thinks Stitch is cute. And I think like people feel sorry for Stitch just because he's cute. But one of the reasons I'm not that crazy about this movie is, aside from like the seemingly random parts of it, is I don't like Stitch. Just like I was saying before about Cusco, it's like he's so irredeemably nasty in this movie. And he's an a-hole all the way up until like the very end of the film. And again, it just feels like he switches when it's convenient for him. Like it's the night before the climax where he has to like, you know, fight off the aliens. And he's still being a complete like jerk to Lilo. He's breaking all her stuff and pushing her over and stuff. And like, she just gets sick of it and lets him go. And it's like, why are we supposed to like this guy? I don't know. Like, I get it. Like, he doesn't have a place in the world. Like, he was just made to be a weapon. And so, I get it. Like, you're supposed to feel sorry for him, but he's really just a terrible character. And he's just so nasty from the start of the movie all the way up until, like, the last 5 minutes. And then suddenly he's all about family. And now, you know, he's part of the family. Weirdly, like, everyone's part of the family. These two aliens who are trying to catch him the whole movie, Pleakley and Jumba? Is that his name? Jumba? Suddenly they're just, like, part of, like, Lilo and Nani's family, and the guy, Cobra Bubbles, is just part of it. He's, like, the Men in Black agent. Like, first he's, like, working for the state or whatever, and like checking up on them to see if they have to take Lilo away from Nani, like child services basically he is. And then it turns out he's actually a Men in Black member. So it's like, wait, so you were just hanging out in this area to catch an alien, but he was already checking up on Lilo and Nani before any alien stuff happened, before Stitch even landed on Earth. So it's like, that's a hell of a coincidence. You have those two jobs, and both of those things that you deal with happen to take place under one roof. Like, that's pretty lucky. It's a crazy coincidence, but whatever. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't like the main character that much, and I find the movie to be kind of a mess. It's unbalanced, and I feel like, because Disney movies are supposed to be magical and fantastical and stuff, and like fantasy and an escape from reality. So when by far the best part of the movie is the realistic part of the movie between the two human characters, that's very much something that could happen in our world. And the fantasy element is the part I find kind of boring and underwhelming. That's a bit of a problem, I guess. So that I've just never gotten as into it. But the original songs in it are really good. It's not a musical, but, you know, like Hawaiian Roller Coaster and stuff. Those are great songs. So I still like it. It's good, but it's definitely not like one I love anywhere near as much as everybody else seems to. Next up is, I think this was Disney's biggest financial failure at that point. Maybe The Black Cauldron was a bigger failure, but Treasure Planet was a big box office bomb. But I actually think it's really good, honestly. It's not like top tier, but it's, for the 2000s, it's one of the best ones, I think, honestly. It has a lot of heart to it. I think they did a really good job with the story of Jim Hawking and John Silver, like Long John Silver. They just call him Silver in the movie. I don't ever call him Long John Silver, but it's Treasure Island in space. It's the same thing. But even the way they do it is very clever. The way they change certain things, like Long John Silver originally had the hook for a hand, so or was missing a leg or whatever. I think he had the peg leg. He was missing a leg. So in here he's like half cyborg because it's the future. So he's a cyborg in this one. Shouldn't say half cyborg. Cyborg's already like part human, part machine. So whatever. And then like the guy Bill is like, you know, the guy with the map originally, this crazy guy in an island where he knows where the treasure is. So in this one, Bill is this like old abandoned robot on an empty planet, and he has the map in him and all. I think it's really clever the way they adapted a lot of stuff. Definitely Dr. Doppler, which I can't say that name without thinking of Mega Man X3. But Dr. Doppler can't live up to Dr. Livesey. But Yeah, it's a good movie. It has a lot of heart. It doesn't have like too many characters where it just gets drowned out. They did a really good job of like a father-son story, like, a father figure for a lost son. I don't think that's something Disney does that often. Um, they did a really good job with it. I think they did a really good job with the movie. It's a very good like movie about finding family, which I guess like Lilo and Stitch was supposed to be. They did a very good job with the human element in that movie. But Treasure Planet, the fantastic elements are really well done too. I guess just having like floating pirate ships in space with like no protection from space it's a little lazy. I guess it's not like the craziest, most creative thing ever. It's basically just the Doom ships from Mario 3. But I don't know, I really like it. I think it's a fun movie. It's a damn good movie. It doesn't get a lot of love. There's definitely like, some people who stick up for it, but I think even of like the underdog ones, like it doesn't get anywhere near as much love as like Hunchback does now, or even probably Black Cauldron. I think it's really good though, and I like the Goo Goo Dolls songs. I think it's just the main guy from the Goo Goo Dolls. They're good, but would rather it be a musical. I've been saying that this whole list, but I really prefer my Disney movies to be musicals, because it's like, to me, a Disney movie is more than just like a movie you watch once and move on from. To me, a Disney movie is like something that you become obsessed with, and like they have great characters that you want to buy merchandise of and like see all around, and then you want to get the soundtrack and listen to the songs over and over again and kind of relive the movie as you're listening to the music, and you can just watch the movie at any time and just rewatch it. Like Disney movies should feel like that. They shouldn't feel like you watch it once and you're like, all right, anyway, what's the next thing? Like a soundtrack, I think a musical element makes it that much more enjoyable. It makes it feel more enjoyable on multiple levels. But at this time, it really became big that like at this point they weren't doing any musicals, but from this point on, it kind of became this thing where if it's not a princess movie, it's not a musical, and that kind of became like the norm from this point on. It continues almost to present day. Next up is Brother Bear. This is a movie that like it doesn't technically do anything wrong. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's just so unbelievably average. I'm gonna put it for now at the top of D. It's really forgettable though. There's like nothing it does particularly well. It's just another Disney movie. Like it doesn't stand out at all. They tried to bring Phil Collins back, and I feel like Phil Collins did an amazing job on the Tarzan soundtrack, but it felt like his heart was in it. Like it feels like he was proud of what he did with Tarzan. This one just feels like he's like, oh, I guess you guys want me to do this thing again. Like I guess you want another one. And it doesn't feel like his heart is in it. It feels like he's just doing it because he has to. And yeah, there's almost nothing to say about it. It's so middle of the road, nothing. It makes me feel absolutely nothing. I don't hate it. I don't really even like it. I mean, I kind of like it. I don't dislike it, but I can't have strong feelings on this movie. It's just nothing. So next we have what is probably the most hated Disney movie of all time, Home on the Range. And I remember when this first came out, I had no interest in seeing this whatsoever. I wouldn't say it's the worst, though. I would say it's pretty bad. It doesn't feel like a Disney animation studio film. It feels like a made for VHS, like, or DVD at this point, home video release. Like it feels on the level of something like Mulan 2 or something. Like, I don't know. It doesn't feel like a proper Disney Animation Studios film. It has one musical number. The bad guy, he like possesses cows when he plays his guitar and he plays a song. I remember it being pretty catchy actually. But that's about it. There's this running weird thing in the movie where he has like 3 nephews, I think, who all look identical. There's a lot of that in this movie. Like, there's 3 little baby pigs who look identical and stuff, with these kind of copy and paste characters. But he has these 3 like dopey kids or whatever, teenage boys, young men, whatever they are, working for him, and they have like an obsession with his ass. Like, all throughout the song, they keep like slapping him on the ass and like pulling his underwear out and pointing at it and stuff, and he has to keep like hitting them and knocking them away to stop them from like grabbing his ass. It's really weird. It's like, it just keeps happening and it gets really uncomfortable. It's kind of like The Rescuers. Like, they keep showing that kid's butt in The Rescuers. Like, it constantly happens. The first couple times you're just like, oh, that was weird. But then it just keeps happening like every 5 seconds. At some point it's like, all right, this is getting really weird, man. Can you please stop showing me that? I'd rather not see that. And they just keep showing it to you. And yeah, it's weird. I don't know what that's all about. But the movie is not really funny, and it's trying to be really funny. The characters aren't memorable. The character designs aren't really charming. I think the best character design is the villain. He has the best design. It's really forgettable. There's a reason why almost nobody even knows this movie exists. I said it was the most hated Disney movie. That's kind of giving it too much credit. I think that implies that people know what it is. It's probably not even the most hated Disney movie, because no one cares about it. One of the most hated Disney movies, though, came out right after it. It's called Chicken Little. And, look, I'm not going to sit here and say Chicken Little is good. I'm not going to pretend it's good. I will say it's better than Home on the Range. But it's not great. Once again, it's trying to be, like, full comedy. But it's trying to be Shrek. This was when, like, Shrek blew up and Disney's movies were, like, failing. Like, stuff like Home on the Range and Brother Bear and stuff, like, no one cared about them anymore. They were not the big guy in town anymore. They really hadn't been since Tarzan. So, like, this was at a point where Disney was getting desperate, and they were like, okay, let's just copy what DreamWorks is doing, which is funny because DreamWorks was making fun of them with Shrek. So Chicken Little, CG, and it's just this, like, hyper reality, and it has all these pop culture jokes and stuff, and it's all self-aware, and it's all full of meta humor and stuff, and it just, like, nothing makes sense in their world because everyone knows they're living in a comedy, and the comedy's, sometimes it's good. Some of the jokes are good. A lot of them aren't. I think the worst jokes in the movie come from Fish Out of Water. That character is so not funny. Like, he's supposed to be the silent one who just does weird stuff, and that's supposed to be enough to make you laugh because it's weird. But, like, the weird stuff just makes no sense. Every time he's on the screen, I'm just, like, cringing. Like, can we please get past this guy? Can we get back to the story? And there's a lot of weird stuff. Like, I don't get why Runt, the pig character, Runt of the Litter, why he's, like, obsessed with, like, 70s dance music. I think, like, that was still at a time where they thought, like, if you just put 70s in something, it's funny. If you put disco in something, it's instantly funny. They did that in, like, an extremely goofy movie also. It's like, oh, isn't it funny? Disco. Remember disco, guys? Remember how wacky that was? And that was just, like, a thing in the 90s and the 2000s where, like, if you put disco in something or a reference to, like, 70s, like, afros and stuff, like, it was just supposed to be funny because, get it? And, like, there wasn't really a joke. There wasn't a punchline. It was just, get it? And, I feel like this was a little late, though. 2006, it was a little late to still be doing that. Yeah, it's not great. I don't hate it as much as other people do. I do think the animation is actually, for its time, for CG animation at its time, I respect that it's very fast and fluent and cartoony. They were trying to emulate kind of like a 2D animation style where, like, you watch, like, Shrek now and, like, it's a way, way, way better movie than Chicken Little. But, like, it's very stiff and, like, it's kind of awkward and it's kind of, like, in this weird in between realistic and cartoony, and it doesn't know what it wants to do. Chicken Little, they just went full cartoony with it, and like obviously it doesn't look very good because it's old CG, but I do think that the main characters' designs are really good for the most part. I mean, they're not all great, but they're pretty good. The background characters are really boring and they all look the same. But for the main characters, and when I say main characters, I mean also like, you know, Foxy Loxy and what's the turkey's name? The mayor, Turkey Lurkey, I think his name is. Because this is originally Henny Penny, the original story. You know, the sky is falling, the sky is falling. I always forget this is an adaptation because it's so drastically different. They did that a lot at this time, like Treasure Planet instead of Treasure Island, although apparently they were trying to get Treasure Planet made even before The Little Mermaid back in the 80s. But, you know, in Treasure Planet, they had to make like a really weird twist on Treasure Island. I feel like they felt they had to do that because Disney was already so famous for the live-action Treasure Island from the 50s. But you had that, and you had The Emperor's New Groove, where it's only the Emperor's New Clothes in name only. It has nothing to do with the Emperor's New Clothes. So they did a lot of that of piggybacking off of like fairy tales and stuff, but not actually committing to them at this point, like changing them so much. Chicken Little is like, you know, Henny Penny and Chicken Little are the same story. It's like a different name for the same story. But it's him saying the sky is falling, you know, he goes to all his friends like Turkey Lurkey and Loosey Goosey. And I remember it from the Golden Girls episode where they act out the play for it. I love the Golden Girls. But yeah, this movie just goes off the rails, and it's not very funny. And a lot of people have said this before. The dad's a very unlikable character. Disney had that problem a lot at this time. Like, their characters were just too irredeemably nasty. Like, it was suddenly characters got really nasty in the 2000s in Disney movies. They kept promoting these characters who were just horrible, unlikable characters. Yeah, I don't think Chicken Little's that great. It's full of pop songs and stuff. Like, it's not one of the best, for sure. After this came Meet the Robinsons. I don't think this one's very good either, but I think this one has a lot more potential than Chicken Little. Having potential and wasting it might be worse than just being bad. So I don't know if that's a compliment or an insult. But I feel like Meet the Robinsons is like, it has a really strong intro. It has an incredibly strong ending. But everything in between is mind-rotting nonsense. It's like they had a good story, but they didn't know how to fill a feature length with it. So the whole film just turns into like just nonsense. It's just a bunch of nonsense. It's like, oh, it's a bunch of gangster frogs who act like the Rat Pack, and it's a T-Rex with a translation device on him which lets you know what he's saying, and there's a girl with like a deep voice like Dr. Girlfriend from Venture Brothers, and she has like a city on her head or like a skyscraper on her head, and there's a guy wearing a spring suit who bounces around, and like a grandpa who takes the main character through like all these little secret passages in the house where they're coming out of toilets and stuff and fruit bowls, and it's just a bunch of nonsense. It's just a bunch of like crazy nonsense. The family is so annoying and they're so loud. They have no personalities. They're just like one-off. I can't even say they're one-off jokes. They're just like, there's a sea of characters screaming and acting annoying, and you never get to know who any of them are really. But the stories with the main characters, with the main kid, the twist with the main kid at the end is very smart. It's very well done. You know, the girl, the who becomes the wife, the mother, whatever you want to say, and the main kid who comes from the future and all, and you find out like how they're all connected is very clever. And the bowler hat kid is done really well when you find out like his whole story and his whole twist. But that's not enough to save the movie. I feel like it has a lot of heart at the end. They really tie it together. But man, like the middle is just, the majority of the movie is just garbage. So I can't rate this one very high. I don't really see any redeemable qualities in this movie other than that. But at the time, Meet the Robinsons was a pretty big bomb. Chicken Little was a big bomb. Like, most of Disney's movies were big bombs this time. I feel like Bolt was pretty popular when it came out. A lot of people seem to like it. Now I feel like no one really talks about it. It kind of just faded into obscurity. But when it came out, it was pretty popular, if I remember correctly. I don't think it's that much better, though. Honestly, I think it's kind of on par with them. I don't have that much to say about it. It's once again one that I don't feel like it feels like a Disney Animation Studios film. It kind of just feels like a generic CG animated movie. Like, it could have been made by Blue Sky or something, or like Illumination or whatever. It doesn't stand out as like a particularly special animated film. It's definitely like not a bad movie. It's likable, but it's pretty safe, it's pretty boring, it's pretty forgettable. There's really nothing about it that stands out. And I honestly don't really have anything else to say about it, because it's that, again, like, there's nothing bad about it, but like, because it's so unmemorable, I would put it in D tier, under some of these anthology films, because I feel like, honestly, some of those anthology films, with the creativity of the animation and all, and some of the sketches being really good, some of them are just better. Or a good deal of them are better, honestly. I think most of them are better than Bolt, because they're at least more memorable than Bolt. But in my opinion, they completely redeemed themselves after that string of bad CG movies. Because when they returned to 2D, they made The Princess and the Frog, and I don't care, man. I'm putting Princess and the Frog top of A tier. Princess and the Frog is so good. I love this movie a lot. I was blown away when I saw it. I wasn't that interested when it came out, because I was just so bored of Disney, because like their movies were getting so bad. I wasn't even watching them anymore. I didn't see Chicken Little, Meet the Robinsons, or Bolt until like years later. I had kind of checked out with Disney. I liked the animation I saw in Princess and the Frog in the commercials and stuff, but I'm just like, I don't know, I don't really care about Disney anymore. I was also going through a hater phase at that time when it came out. I had like a hater phase for Disney from like 2006 to like 2012 or something, or 2007 to 2012, something like that. And it was mostly because my older brother was doing like a Disney hating phase, so I kind of just copied whatever he was doing. But yeah, when I finally saw it, it blew me away. I couldn't believe how good the animation was, how likable the characters were, how amazing the music in the movie was. It has really good songs. It has one of the coolest Disney villains ever. Like, he has his power with his shadow. The way his shadow, like, just quickly and casually interacts with him, and like, oh man, it's so creative. The way he moves is so cool. Everything about him is cool. The way he dances is cool. His voice is awesome. His song is great. I hate that it gets interrupted in the middle, unfortunately. So when you listen to it on the, like, in the movie, it's really cool, but when you listen to it on the soundtrack, the middle is kind of a bummer. But yeah, no, I love The Princess and the Frog. I think The Princess and the Frog is an outstanding movie. Honestly, I feel like it's the closest it's ever felt to the Disney Renaissance again. I feel like this is a lost Renaissance movie. Like, if you told me this was actually the movie that came out after The Lion King, like it released in like 1993, and I didn't know any better, I'd be like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Like, it feels like this is a lost movie from 1993, and it was just rediscovered. Like, honestly, if we got this instead of Pocahontas back then, that would have been so much better. Or 94, I should say. 95. No, 95 was Pocahontas. Yeah. What am I saying 93 for? No. If we got this in 95 instead of Pocahontas, man, that would have been so much better. Princess and the Frog is really, really damn good. I know some people have complained that it has too many songs, too many musical numbers. I don't think so. I actually thoroughly enjoy all the musical numbers. The humor is really funny, actually, in this. Like, the prince is hilarious. Naveen, I think his name is. He is really funny in this movie, honestly. You know, you have your little sidekick characters and stuff, but I honestly don't think they're annoying. I actually like all of them. They're all funny in their own right. They're all good characters in their own right. Beautiful artwork, beautiful music, beautiful everything. Just outstanding. One of the best. I'd probably say like the last best Disney movie, the most recent greatest Disney movie, because still some good ones to come. And don't get me wrong, there's some damn good ones to come after this, but I think that was the last one that just like reached the level of masterpiece of some of their old movies.